plans to remake the city in the image of Karl Marx. Those plans are falling apart, just like New York's rotting public transit and decaying housing supply. But if you think that's bad, get ready, because things are about to get even worse.
It's confiscating wealth because we want to make anybody's life better, but purely out of resentment, out of an attack on the people who have that wealth to begin with. It really is something we haven't seen in the United States of America.
We balance the budget without slashing the services that New Yorkers rely on, the cultural institutions and public transportation that connect people to the city and to one another. And we raise taxes on the wealthiest New Yorkers.
I don't want to live in a city where I actually believe that it's too difficult to actually have property value appreciate it does in places like Florida. So over time, you're going to really ruin these commercial and
backed off a potential expansion of the NYPD. It was a campaign promise some thought he may not keep.
Governor Tish and I were able to identify ways to keep the NYPD headcount at the originally authorized 35,000 while also meeting all our fighting needs.
In addition to the bad policies and the ideas that are being floated that have failed across the world, there's also this rising anti-Americanism. Quote, I forgot to get napkins, so I just wiped my hand on the American flag behind me.
So the mayor says the city's not going bankrupt anytime soon, but they're spending more money than ever before. And what nobody's talking about is you don't do stuff like this, spending everything as fast as you can.
Good morning, everybody. I'm on the road heading to Chicago. Blessings to everybody. Other than that, let's get it. Enjoy these videos.
And if your goal isn't to maximize a tiny short-term political gain at the expense of the city's long-term future, which is exactly what's happening, because the only way communism can envelop a society and transform it is if it breaks down the door and takes no prisoners. Because once you start stealing from your own population in order to hand out freebies to everyone, things start to break down, which means the socialists have to steal fast enough to stay slightly ahead of their own failures, which has New York on the road to ruin. And I'm seeing article after article saying we're on the edge of a disaster. We're getting very close. Everyone's about to pull the plug. But the truth is, a lot of people already have. With CEOs shipping jobs out of the New York area at record rates while investors dump their apartment portfolios for just pennies on the dollar, because that's all they think they can get, revealing that those with the ability to create anything see no reason at all to do something like that in New York. And that brings us to the real reason New York is in trouble. If you're going to jack up taxes and fees on anybody who does anything here, all you're going to do is make life worse for the city's middle class. And without them, the city itself is doomed. Now, that might shock you because the socialists are claiming they don't want to do anything that's going to negatively affect the middle class. But freezing rents, raising taxes, threatening to raise property taxes, taxing companies for having too many employees, all these things do is translate into higher costs for people who shop at the grocery store and for people who want to rent an apartment. Well, their paychecks shrink as the companies who hire them have no choice but to give some of their money to the communists. And with that being the boots on the ground reality of what's happening in the capital of capitalism, there's only one course of action.
Socialism isn't great in any circumstance, but the ideas that he has have to be funded by somebody. That wealth has to be created. I don't see people running out of New York. And much like you, I'm a Florida resident, but I also happen to have a house here. So I'm waiting for my notification on August 30th or whenever it's supposed to come about the tax. And my house is up for sale. I don't want to live in a city where I actually believe that it's too difficult to actually have my property value appreciate like it does in places like Florida.
Right. So the mayor's gone out of his way to stack his administration and his team with people who don't think anyone should be earning anything from their private property. They don't even like the idea of private property. They want it gone. And this is how to raise taxes on homeowners. And he even said himself, this is going to affect people in the middle class. And he said, I don't want to do it, but I might have to if the governor of the state doesn't give me more money for my budget. Well, that was the first thing he did, which is causing some of the richest people in the world to get out of New York City real estate altogether. And when the whales jump ship, the whole ship implodes. But says this is all fake news. Watch.
Throughout this process, I've been reminded of the words of the Austrian economist, Friedrich Hayek. If socialists understood economics, they would be socialists. If these past months have shown us anything, it is that socialists not only understand economics just as well as the capitalists who came before, but that we can solve their years of mismanagement through an embrace of our principles. There is nothing fiscally responsible about balancing the budget on the backs of working people.
So the mayor's out there saying that he understands the economy and he understands how things work just as well as the capitalists. And that's why it's okay to be a socialist, because we're responsible too. And here we are with a balanced budget, and a balanced budget is proof of responsibility, right?
You show me a clip like that, Stuart, my blood starts to build. Didn't he just take money from the state? Anybody can balance a bunny and do that. If I owe 12 million and I go to somebody else and I say, hey, give me 12 million, kick this down the can for the next guy's problem, I don't know that that's solving anything. This guy's unbelievable.
So a balanced budget isn't proof of responsibility. All it is proof that your expenses, your income, and the income gap was filled in with other people's money. All this is proof of socialists being responsible, yes, to the viewpoints in the Communist Manifesto, which is guiding all of their decisions right now, whether they know it or not, because these people do not believe in private property. They do not believe in you earning a living unless it is they who hand you that living and you owe them for it. And ask yourself this: would anybody who understands economics brag about passing something like this?
Mayor Zoran Mamdani.
Good morning, good morning, good morning. On the road right quick, out and about for the moment. Glad you guys are here. Thank you, appreciate it. Enjoy the video.
City Council Speaker Julie Menin shook hands in the age-old New York City tradition of agreeing on a budget. The key breakthrough is the mayor and the city council settling a lawsuit over the city's ballooning $1.8 billion rental assistance program. In the end, the program to subsidize the costly rental market will be reformed to grow in a more manageable way, with 30,000 additional New Yorkers getting into the program this coming year.
By expanding rental assistance and creating a new $175 million housing voucher program for New Yorkers in need.
But no.
Wait a second. The mayor didn't expand housing assistance. We just heard housing assistance was so out of control. The voucher program that subsidized the cost of people's $5,000 rents was growing exponentially, and they had to cut people off while creating some other sort of program that has a big number attached to it, but isn't going to help people the same way this one was. And all this proves is nobody running the madhouse that is New York City understands how the economy actually works, because we had the mayor saying, I don't want to do this housing assistance program. And then we had other people, these progressives, saying, oh, we should do this housing assistance program. Meanwhile, both groups want more government involvement with housing. The only problem here is the housing assistance program was feeding money directly into the pockets of landlords offering market rate apartments. And if you think a communist mayor wants private landlords getting his money, you got another thing coming. But the problem is none of these options revolve around the idea of giving people choices and letting people do things on their own. You see, if you would just allow people to build apartments in New York, you would. We're not going to do that. And one way or another, it sounds like they're going to get them from other people's money, which is apparently running out so quickly they got to cancel these programs when they start skyrocketing.
Other top-line items in the budget include millions for the expansion of fair fares, which chops the $3 subway and bus fare in half for many low-income New Yorkers.
Oh,
This budget is a win for New Yorkers who can now travel to work
I thought it was supposed to be free.
without worrying about the cost.
Though the mayor insists he'll continue to push to make all buses free.
Oh, thank God.
Finally, Mamdani also backed off a potential expansion of the NYPD. It was a campaign promise some thought he may not keep.
Oh, don't worry about that. How on earth could a socialist mayor that said he wants to defund the police fail to keep a campaign promise that said he's going to do that while passing the biggest budget in New York City history? The city just decided it's going to spend more money than it's ever spent before, and there is zero money for new police. And guess what? The 35,000 officers we have now, that might sound like a lot, but it's way under the number of officers we had back in 2000 when the city's population was much smaller. So what's happening here is our population is growing and the number of police we have is shrinking, and we've decriminalized bad behavior all across the board. Crime's going through the roof. And that's the system system. The system here is that criminals are protected. The leaders in communism are protected. It's the little guy who has to suffer with these policies. It's the little guy that has to go to the grocery store and wonder why his groceries cost more because the grocery store just got hit with higher taxes and just got hit with extra fees for things like water that come in from the city and help the place run. And then he's got to wonder why his paycheck gets smaller because the government's stealing from his employer as well, and the employer has to earn a profit. But you see, all we're doing here is punishing people that are doing anything outside of socialism. You see, the only way you're supposed to get ahead in socialism is with the help of it. If you're over here with your own business, with your own apartment building, doing your own thing, you don't need them. They don't need that.
Donnie has asked folks to set their ACs to just 78 degrees. He says that will help stabilize the grid. It seems defeatist, though, right? And not unlike the infamous Jimmy Carter fireside chat when he wore that sweater. Leading by example, President Carter wore that sweater and he implored folks to regulate their thermostats. Remember this?
Oh, yeah.
All of us must learn to waste less energy. Simply by keeping our thermostats, for instance, at 65 degrees in the daytime and 55 degrees at night, we could save half the current shortage of natural gas.
Oh, yeah. Well, you know, the only problem with this is the communists, or the people who are actually communists but just don't know it yet because they call themselves Democrats, they've got this idea that there needs to be some rule that applies to everybody out there except for them. Here's somebody with a heat detector which says that the temperatures in City Hall are 61 degrees. Look at the size of that room right there. That's like 1,000 New York City apartment bedrooms. How the mayor said that businesses needed to do this, and pay close attention.
Last week, I signed an executive order focused on protecting workers from the hazards of heat.
What up, chat? What up? What up? I'm on the road, so I can't respond like I want to respond as far as the chat wise, but I'm here for you guys. Yep. You can't have this stuff going on, man. These people don't love America. We have these people out of here. Vote them out of here. Deport them.
Our administration is hard at work developing guidelines that will keep workers safe. While we finalize these guidelines, I want to urge all employers in New York City to develop those plans to protect your employees. It is not enough to say that they can take breaks when the paycheck is on the line. Workers cannot cool down when they have quotas to meet. They cannot go into a cooling center when they're on the clock. Please make a point of ensuring that your employees know their rights. They will not face consequences for staying safe. And to every business owner, please set your thermostats to 78 degrees to alleviate the stress on our power grid.
So the mayor says businesses need to stop abusing their employees. Businesses need to respect their employees because obviously they don't do that or he wouldn't have to say it. Businesses need to stop telling people they have quotas. Businesses need to stop doing this. Businesses need to stop doing that. And they need to make it so hot in their business, nobody wants to work there anyways. I mean, this is crazy. That entire statement was loaded with attacks on people who create jobs and sustain themselves and lift people up out of poverty by giving them an opportunity. But no, not good enough for the mayor who wants everything at 78 degrees except the government's own buildings.
But his speeches, the Malay speech, this speech, they were always downers. They were always like, you know what, do this, but never attack the issues, never fix the problem, and help usher in Ronald Reagan in a long period of prosperity. But here we are again, and I'll start with you. Listen, fix your AC, but that's it. No one's going to really listen to that, I don't think.
No, and the thing is the only people in communist countries listen to the government on how to set their thermostat. I lived in Beijing, and they would say, keep your thermostat at this level, and everyone would follow instructions. So Mamdani is doing exactly what they're doing in China, and President Trump has completely offset that with his energy policies, and we're not going to turn down our thermostat. I want it at 68.
This is something, and it's...
Okay, so here's the other thing nobody's talking about. New York City City, it's experiencing a quote-unquote heat wave, right? Central Park, it's 100 degrees. Now, if you live in America and you don't live in the freezing cold Northeast, 100 degrees is normal. That happens. There's parts of the country that get 90, 100 degrees all the time. The entire state of Florida has all their ACs running 24/7 in every single building, and nobody's telling people in Florida to turn down their thermostats. Nobody, so the idea that we have a power grid in New York that can't handle basic weather patterns that are not somehow bizarre to America, that's another issue. And it has to do with this marriage between communism and these whacked out green energy plans that caused New York to shut down all of its power plants, which is why the grid is working so hard. Oh, it's working so hard. Well, it wouldn't have to work so hard if you would just keep your power plants open. But no, they don't want to do that. And look at this. New York is actually importing electricity from Canada. And there's a power plant in Quebec that apparently went down. It was providing hydropower to New York City, and now it's not working. And New York City is like, well, now we got to use all of our power from fossil fuels, and now the grid's working too hard. And that's why they shut off power to parts of the Bronx on the hottest day out there. They just shut the electricity off. So now people in the Bronx, they can't even have their AC at 78 because there's no power in their home. And the mayor, he's got the buildings at City Hall.
That's what they voted for. They want everything for free. And look at what it's getting them, nowhere. Amazing.
61 degrees. Maybe if you live in the Bronx, you should go live in City Hall where it's 61 degrees, where they're not going to shut off the power because they can run the utilities at full tilt there, and they're paying for it with everybody else's money. Doesn't matter that they're paying the highest electricity rates in the whole country. They got everybody else's money for that. What do you think about this disaster the city's walking into? Is it going to get better? Is it going to get not better? Let me know. See you in the next video. While centrist Democratic candidates are also winning their primaries, the progressives and even the Democratic Socialists, they're having a moment. It is undeniable. That is why a whole lot of eyes are on Michigan right now to see what happens in the Democratic Senate primary there. The field is made up of Congresswoman Haley Stevens, State Senator Mallory McMorrow, and Abdul El-Sayed, a former Wayne County health official. This is a hot race, hotly contested, and it has the Democratic Party split there. Senate Minority Leader Chuck Schumer and other moderate Democrats have backed Haley Stevenson. And you might have seen that Congresswoman Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez just gave a boost to El-Sayed, who already has the backing of Bernie Sanders, and Abdul El me now, fresh off of that AOC endorsement. He is running in Michigan's Democratic Senate primary. Welcome to the show.
Jacob, thanks for having me.
Abdul El-Sayed. And that's not all. Abdul campaigned with anti-Israel radical Hassan Piker. He called to abolish private health insurance, and he's championing socialist tax hikes with Senator Bernie Sanders.
That's why we need Dr. Abdul El-Sayed in the Senate.
Too radical for Michigan, too radical for the U.S. Senate. Reject Abdul El-Sayed.
If we're not serious about standing up to an agency that has gone rogue, answerable only to one man, violating the principle of the Constitution itself, then I don't think we're serious about democracy. I've worked in government agencies. Once a culture of impunity sets in to an agency, when you think you're above the law, you cannot reform that. These people have been hired in, told that they're above the law, told one of ours, all of yours, which is exactly what the rallying cry was, when they shot someone in the back of the head, shot another person in the face, that be reformed, that should be trained, abolished. And it's not to say that we shouldn't control our southern border. I believe we need a safe and secure southern border. I believe we need to enforce immigration policy, but not like this, because this was never about that. This is about one president.
See fascinating developments coming out of the Democrat primaries, because as everybody should be aware, far left radical Marxist lunatics are taking over the Democrat Party, right? They're winning primaries left and right, which means that they're going on to general elections, and in some general elections, they're going to lose, okay, because they're way too far left, okay? When you look at some House races, that's not a real problem because get their deep blue districts. But when you talk about Senate races, on the other hand, it's a little bit different because they're statewide. So when you have these states, like, for example, Michigan, a state that we're going to talk about here today, which is generally speaking, it leans left. I mean, it can flip red under the right conditions, but generally speaking, it is a center-left state, okay? And when you have radical far-left lunatics running in a center-left state, you can have some problems, right? That opens up the opportunity for should see danger of experiencing in Michigan as they have a radical lunatic on the ballot that is likely going to win the Democrat primary. And now Democrats are in full-blown panic, and we're going to talk about that panic here. But let's go ahead and roll a clip so you guys get a general understanding of what's going on out in Michigan.
We now have a showdown between the DSA and the establishment in the Democratic Lockett when he ran as nominee before. It's one of those rare times that a non-MAGA Republican has Trump's and a non-MAGA Republican has Trump's endorsement that kept the field clean. So this is one of those cases where Trump actually acquiesced to the quote-unquote establishment wing of the Republican Party. So that's who's waiting for Democrats over there. And now the question, you have Chuck Schumer, who favors Haley Stevens, who definitely much more in the Alyssa Slotkin sort of blueprint of a sort of center-left senator from there, much more in the Gary Peters side of things. And you have Abdul El-Sayed, governor, a public health coordinator at one point, went to medical, technically a practicing physician at this point. But he has been the darling of the left, of the progressive left. AOC just endorsed him, and he certainly is the DSA-adjacent. I don't know if he would say he's fully DSA, but he's certainly the DSA-adjacent candidate. Well, Gary Peters about 2 weeks ago had said that somebody, essentially, Gary Peters all but said he doesn't want to see Abdul El-Sayed as the nominee. He didn't say it, but he's basically saying, hey, this field needs to thin itself out. Because there's a belief that in the state of Michigan, somebody who's as progressive or who is DSA adjacent, like Abdul El-Sayed, cannot get 50% of the Democratic primary vote.
So Michiganders, take a look at this. Abdul El-Sayed's lead dropped to 9 points ahead of Haley Stevens in the Democratic polling. This is for the Michigan $16 million and ads promoting her, and in $16 million and ads promoting her, and in attack ads against Abdul El-Sayed.
If you win the general election, you will go to the Senate. Who would you rather see instead? Could it be someone like Chris Van Hollen, who just endorsed you? Senator?
For a very long time, I've been saying I think Senator Van Hollen would be an amazing Senate Majority Leader, and I say majority on purpose. I think he has the pragmatism, the statesmanship, the legislative acumen, and a read on where American politics is and should go that I think could offer a real refreshment on what the Senate could yet be. And so I've been a big fan of his for a very long time. Well, that's his decision to make, but I'll tell you, should he want to stay in the Senate, he'd be my.
If a progressive were to win in Michigan, key swing state in 2026, wouldn't that progressive then be asked to run for president in 28?
I should hope not.
Would you rule out, if you are senator from Michigan, running for president in 2028?
Absolutely. I'll just say a couple things. I'm running to be senator from Michigan. I love my state. I think I can do a lot of great good as senator from Michigan, and I think that a senator who's willing to use the full force of their voice to get money out of politics, put money in your pocket, pass Medicare for all, has the ability to shape who the next president can be and also what the next president should do. And I aim to use my platform as the next senator from Michigan to have as much of an outsized impact on that as I possibly can. It's just not going to be me.
Talk about taxing the rich, right? Should the average worker be concerned with this policy? No.
We gotta get money out of them.
I'm so incredibly grateful to be here to support my dear friend Abdul. You have no idea how exciting it is, the possibility of having a senator that comes to trying to push Medicare for all anymore.
The best quote from Tupac is that we've got money for war, but not for the poor. That basically sums up a lot of what's going on in this country.
Talk about taxing the rich, right? Should the average worker be concerned with this policy?
No, because at the end of the day, if we're able to tax billionaires their wealth, some of that money goes back into building the roads that you drive on, the schools that your kids go to, the health care that you need, the child care that your kids need. So we're talking about like 100 million or more taxing wealth. That's what we're talking about. So unless you're like the average worker who has $100 million, then you probably don't need to worry about anything.
Thank you so much for taking the time.
Yeah, so you see that, you heard that. Now, I want you guys to understand exactly what's going on here because I have been warning about this. I've been saying that because Democrats have a very short-term mindset when it comes to power control, right? They're so Trump deranged, they're so obsessed with stopping Trump that they decided to get in bed with radical lunatics who are now taking over the party and getting Democrats out of positions of leadership, again, within their own party, right? So they're losing power and control within their own party. And on top of that, because they're winning these primaries, they're putting Democrats in danger of losing races that otherwise should be winnable. And that's exactly what is essentially going to happen in Michigan if Abdul El Sayed wins the Democrat primary. And the Democrat establishment knows this, right? The current sitting senator for that seat is a Democrat, right? He is retired. He's stepping down. And you have El Sayed, who is currently in first place. He's a radical communist, Marxist, far-left lunatic, basically a clone of Zohran Mamdani, right? A Zohran Mamdani clone. Again, running in a place like Michigan, which is center-left, but at the same time, not radically far-left, okay, like the Democrat Party. And Democrats know that somebody like him in the general election is going to make that race more competitive than it otherwise should be. Again, going up against Mike Rogers, who almost became senator last time he ran against Alyssa Slotkin, who's a so-called moderate Democrat. If it's him versus El Sayed, then likely it's probably going to be the Republican flipping a seat that otherwise a Democrat should win. Again, blue wave canceled if Democrats lose the Senate, which right now, chances are they're actually going to lose. So you know that Democrats are desperate because they're making their candidates now drop out of the race in order to rig the election against the progressive, the communist, who is in first place right now. And that's exactly what's happening as you have Mallory McMorrow. She is now dropping out of the race. She's now dropping out because she knows that her votes are likely to go towards the other candidate in the race that, again, is not the far-left radical lunatic. Again, this is Democrats pulling what they did in 2016 and 2020, okay, when you had Bernie, it looked like Bernie was about to win the Democrat primary. They made a whole bunch of other Democrats drop out and basically had their votes go towards their candidate, their preferred candidate, aka Hillary Clinton, aka Joe Biden, and that's ultimately how they ended up becoming the Democrat primary nominee, right? Because Democrats engineered candidates dropping out of the race in order to have the votes go towards the candidate that they wanted to win. And that's exactly what they're doing out here in Michigan. Again, this woman is now dropping out all of a sudden because Democrats are desperate that they're going to lose this seat.
Today, I'm announcing that I am suspending my campaign for United States Senate. And I'm doing it with a deep, deep sense of gratitude. Thousands of volunteers, for everyone who donated what you could. For my staff, who built this team up from nothing, I thank you. For my family, for Ray, who believed in me long before I ever believed in myself, and for Noah, our 5-year-old, who presses her hands up against the window to wave goodbye every morning to leave for work. Remember, Mom, she reminded me recently, it's not about if you win. It's about trying hard and having fun. She's right. So I want to be very clear about what this announcement is not. I may be suspending this campaign, but I am not leaving the fight. I never planned on politics. After the 2016 election, I felt lost. I picked up my phone and I typed 5 words into the search bar: how to run for office. And here's what I learned. When regular people fight, things can change. In my very first election, we flipped a district against the incumbent. 4 years later, with so many of you, we flipped the Michigan Senate for the first time in nearly 40 years. And we didn't stop at winning. We've repealed Michigan's abortion ban. We raised wages. We made sure every child gets breakfast and lunch at school. We made it easier to go to college. We expanded civil rights, voting rights, and so much more. These wins took thousands of us, showing up every single day, refusing to give up when there were setbacks. That's why I'm staying in this fight, and why I need you to stay in it with me. Now, I haven't been shy about calling for new leadership in a better Democratic Party. I mean it. The energy is there. People are crying out for change, and we owe it to them to listen. Then we need to build it up together from the ground up. So here's what we do next. Every day through November 3rd, we win this Senate seat, and we send Mike Rogers back to Florida for good. Whoever wins this prime on August 4th will have my full support. Then let's elect Jocelyn Benson as our next governor. Let's flip the state house and expand our majority in the state Senate. Let's elect Democrats up and down the ticket and show the rest of the country what it means to fight like Michigan. 10 years ago, I started this work heartbroken, typing 5 words into a search bar. And I learned the only thing that has ever really changed this country: ordinary people who love something enough to fight for it. I love this country. I love Michigan. And I love the little girl who waves at me from the window every morning, trusting the grown-ups to leave her a state and a country worth inheriting. That's who I'm fighting for. And I'm not going anywhere. I hope that you'll join me.
Yeah, so despite claiming that she's not going anywhere, she's dropping out, right? She's quitting because she can't win, and also because the Democrat powers that be said, hey, you got to step down, right? You're losing.
I can't be flexing too hard on this shit. Obviously, we don't want sexist. They sexistly were upset that I called them terrorists, you know what I mean? That's just not how it works. Unfortunately, in this day and age, you just have to kind of eat it if someone calls you a terrorist. And then if they genuinely turn around and go, oh, you didn't appreciate me calling you a terrorist and connecting you to an anti-Semitic hate crime attempt, well, guess what? Then you're a misogynistic piece of shit. And then everyone on MS Now will sincerely advance that agenda. Like, they will genuinely be like, yeah, if you don't want to be called a terrorist as a Muslim man in the United States of America, well, if you have an issue with that, you're a sexist piece of shit. You Bernie, bro. You Bernie, bro. That's literally what has happened these past couple of weeks. It's very cool. Very cool that we're doing that. You already getting some flack that your fans are shitting on her while you're begging to get an endorsement. It's already happening, sir. Yeah, I think people should be excited that I'm offering charity and grace and understanding to a person who literally lit her own campaign on fire by unironically engaging in rank Islamophobia, you know? I just don't think she's going to endorse Abdul, but it is what it is. Well, you can't be hating on Mallory McMorrow if I'm not hating on her. And she's the one who literally called me, Nick Fuentes equivalent dangerous figure in American politics at a time when the fucking Trump administration is actively coming after me. So, we want her supporters to support Abdul, okay? Have a little bit more tact.
I just learned that Senator.
Yeah, see that, you heard that. Far-left lunatics, Marxist communists like Hasan Piker, they're currently freaking out over this woman dropping out because they don't know where her supporters are going to go, right? Who are they going to support? She's not endorsing the socialists. The reason why she's not endorsing the socialists because, again, she's being forced to drop out because the Democrat establishment needs her voters to vote for the Chuck Schumer candidate, right? That's exactly what is happening here, right? They're trying to stop this guy from winning because he's currently in the lead, right? And if she actually was in support of this guy, she would probably just stay in the race because otherwise, her dropping out of the race actually really increases the chances that her voters could possibly vote for Chuck Schumer's preferred candidate, right? If she just stayed in the race, it basically would have guaranteed that El Said was going to win. Now, again, the race becomes a lot more interesting because, again, we don't know where her voters going to go, and she has not endorsed the socialists. So we're going to see what happens. But the whole point of this video is that if this guy actually ends up the Democrat primary, a seat that otherwise should not have been competitive, it's going to be real competitive because, again, remember, Deunta Lockett is a so-called moderate Democrat, right? Even though all Democrats are, far left, right? But they call Democrats.
America is cool to let people come in, the right way and love America and assimilate. But we can't let people come in and wish death to America, to us, to anybody. No harm on nobody. Cultures or religions coming in like the Muslims, Palestinians coming here to want some death to America. They're going to invade America. There's not going to be in every household. This is a Christian nation. Period. There ain't no takeovers. This is America. We're going to stay American. Period. These people are insane, man. And then you letting people get voted in. They don't love America. Are you insane? You liberals, you Democrats, you guys going this far left that you want to let people come in and get voted in. They don't love America because you don't like Trump. Or just that you just were so thirsty to stay in power that you're willing to destroy America just for this thirst, for a quick fix to the longevity. That's why I voted for Trump, for longevity. None of this quick fix stuff. But this is insane. I'm gonna play 2 videos.
Oh, it's not happening. It's happening, and we need to stop it.
This is the Islamic Republic of New York is here. Islam will be in every household. Inshallah, we'll hold on this Muslim. Welcome to Mamdani's New York. You see this city?
Welcome to Mamdani's New York.
You hear that trash? This is America. Mamdani just got here. This man not 100 years old. This man's in his 30s, 40s maybe. This man's not, he's even been here that long. Are you serious? Hell no.
Yeah, that's what we've been trying to tell y'all. And y'all ain't taking over shit. New York may allow that to.
It doesn't matter. I'm saying the man just got here. He want to trash America and he's Muslim. This is what? Hell no. This is America, man. No way, Miss. No.
But Oklahoma sure as hell won't. What the fuck out? Oh, it's not happening. It's happening, and we need to stop it.
We gotta stop this. You see this? No. Hell no. It gets even more crazy. Listen to this trash. Just leave if you don't love America, man. Get the fuck about it if you don't love America. This is insane how you people do this, man. Y'all come here or y'all born here and y'all just trash the place. Just leave. Period. I didn't vote for Joe Biden, but you know what I'm saying? I didn't wish no ill will on the man, nothing bad on him. I knew in 4 years he'd be no longer the president. Wrong people gonna wake up. Listen, Shangar's clocking in. Holy shit. First of all, happy post 4th of July. I was way too drunk to be on here. I made a couple of videos yesterday, but I had to tap out. Sometimes you gotta know when to hold them, when to fold them. And I folded them after those last videos yesterday, so I apologize. But I'm back today. And you know what? It's Sunday, so it's still 4th of July. So shout out to you. Have a drink. Get the grill going. Go to church. Praise God. This is ridiculous. This has to be, and this wasn't just one of these today that happened yesterday. There were several across the country, and I asked the liberals to take one fucking day off. It's hot outside. You don't gotta, you don't have to break the 4th of July, but you don't have to shit on it. You know what I'm saying? Like that's the shit. That's a part of me that when I left the left, I was like, you guys are gone too far. Right, they're going too far. You know what I'm saying? They if you get too much free time to just constantly go out and protest every little goddamn thing, they just out here protesting, man. You know these people get no jobs. You know they on Section 8, and they also get paid by some type of some billionaires paying these people. Private organizations paying these people. There's no way they out here dedicated this much to protest about any little stupid thing. That's crazy, man. Go home, read a book, read the Bible, man. Protesting for no reason.
Love Palestine so much. Go live there. Go provide aid. Go do something. Go do something that's not shitting on a country that's not shooting you, by the way, for having this opinion and doing it. No one's stopping you. No one's attacking you. See how like conservatives, no conservative attacked them? Just saying. Just saying. No one came and ran them down with their cars, shot them in the...
Right. That's right, Rangers. MAGAs, we didn't go out there protesting every goddamn thing Biden was doing. But did, you know what I'm saying? Yeah, we got on the internet and talked about it, social media and all that, but we didn't get no in mass and we not stop protesting. You know what I'm saying? We was at work, getting this money. You guys out there protesting no kings. If he was a king, you guys won't be protesting. You know that, right? Come on, y'all. Let's continue.
Did any of that stuff, reported them, you know, no one did anything wrong to them. They were able to speak their opinion. She was able to yell and say that she has a stink puss, and say that this is a piece of shit country, but yet she's living from...
And look how she's dressed. Overseas, you know what I'm saying? She can't be dressed like this. She cannot be dressed like this overseas, period. Yes, she's in America saying her pussy stinks, she hates America, but if she could go overseas somewhere there, she won't be alive. She will not be dressed like that either.
Thriving, and looks like, when I say thriving, because she's a little overweight, sorry, I'm just saying, she's calling us tone balls and strikes. Doesn't seem like she's starving in this piece of shit country that she's talking about. As you can see, they lost energy because they started to realize this is probably stupid. I can probably go be enjoying some, I don't know, like a nice American woman. You could be enjoying a nice American beer. How about you sit and watch some nice American Netflix and just, you know, enjoy your nice American AC from our grid that's working perfectly. So sorry for New York. Blame Taylor Swift and more on Mamdani's politics. But you know, in my nice, maybe I DoorDash. I call it a day for one day for a few hours. Maybe I go get my nice American, get me a nice American Gatorade. And or I could DoorDash it. You know, support the local gig economy. I could do there's a lot of things that these people and all you fucking liberals could have been doing. And then just for 24 hours, right? You could have been on your, you know, American internet and the American phone, your American phone talking about, you know, like how the other liberal Democrats chose to be, oh, this is women's rights. I see a country of contradictions. You could have done all of that on your nice American internet, your nice American phone, and your nice American apartment. You know what I'm saying? And then bitch about America. Yeah. See, I keep saying American because I want you to understand how fucking retarded this is. Okay? You want to hate this country so bad, that's fine. There's places that hate America like just as much as you. go live there. Go to live in Iran. Like, what's the fucking point? Shiesty there's clocked in. Like, what's the fucking point of doing all of this? If this is your everyday, and this is why I believe in paid protesters, because there's no fucking way.
Just said it.
Like, you guys are undefeated. Like, there's no 365 is what you do 365. It's not actually moving the needle.
I just said all this. It's my first time watching this video. I just said all that. That's crazy.
When to fold them, when you're packed up. Like, if this is you 365 as liberals, you're not moving the needle. You're just making yourself look stupid. You're not swaying votes. No. You know, that's why I believe in paid protests, because you would only have to be able to be paid to be doing this on one of the hottest weekends, on a day where you're like, man, nobody's really out here. Like, bro, like, you're getting paid. You have to, you know, crowdfund or crowds on demand. You're making your putt, dude. You're making a lot of money off of these fucking retards. But whatever, let me know in the comments. Share, like, you know, subscribe for $1 if you got it to my X page. I'm doing a space tonight.
Yeah, you guys, you know what I'm saying? I just want to share this video with you, man. I love America, man. Period. Trump, you know what I'm saying? Keep America first, man. Iran, Israel, you know what I'm saying? They terrible. They terrible, man. We gotta do better, Trump. We gotta do better with these people coming across the border. We gotta do better with this thing going on overseas, man. We gotta do better with this. We gotta tighten up. Name is Deunta. Like, share, and subscribe. Thanks for stopping by.
Sure if we should be celebrating 4th of July after we just come off.
Celebrate everything else?
No, we just came up with strong Juneteenth, understanding what it is.
So we got to make a stand-up curve in July 4th?
We are still American.
We got to curve July 4th now?
We're not American? But see, the problem is... we not hold on, let me answer the question the way I'm answering. You relax. Check this out. 4th of July is the independence of America from Britain, right? American or not.
Where was you? Was you born in America?
You ain't kick no knowledge right there. What the fuck were you trying to kick knowledge? Hold on for a second. When America got its independence from Britain, black people still slaves. So we wasn't you a slave?
Let me ask you this: have you ever bought fireworks?
Yeah. Or was you born free in America?
Like you trying to?
I'm just saying.
Educated now.
I'm educated.
Off that now. I'm not mad at what you're saying, but you're saying
I respect it, but
you're saying as a general whole, as a
general the history of black people. General.
So we got to talk about a hilarious video that has black liberals triggered and upset because this Trump supporter is going to tell the truth to this black liberal woman who is going on some Trump deranged rant. And I want to react to it. Okay, we have Silly D here, upset with this video of this black Trump supporter basically going off on this woman. So without further ado, let's go ahead and get into this.
What's up, family? Let's talk about a Sambo. Yeah, fam. So we got trauma at the National Mall. The National Mall and Memorial Parks reflecting pool, to be exact.
Red, white, and Nazi green!
We got a crazy
Red, white, and Nazi green!
We got a crazy racist liberal sitting here with Team LG.
You are fucking check for white supremacy!
Vulgar Black Lives Matter moron! Communist, anti-American, seditious traitor who doesn't appreciate that there's no country where she came from that would give her the freedoms that she has here in the United States. And I will always fight against this. I will never stop fighting against these trashy Black Lives Matter communist bitches.
Bro, I feel the same exact way, right? I will never, ever, ever stop fighting against these communists, right? I feel the exact same way. I don't know about you guys, but I haven't heard anything wrong, right? I haven't heard anything incorrect from this guy. Everything that he said was the truth. Okay, so let's figure out what black liberals are upset about, right? Because again, apparently the truth hurts.
For white supremacy! A bet for white supremacy! They're satanic! Here's a bet for white supremacy! Here's a bet for...
Wow. Absolutely wow. He said, us, as if he's one of them, as if when they wrote that Constitution, they were thinking about him. Absolutely.
Well, I mean, he's American, right? I mean, let's be real. If you're American, then all of that applied to you, right? It may not apply at the time, but eventually it did. I mean, that's the beauty of our Constitution. That's the beauty of our country, which is that, you know, we have not always lived up to our founding ideals, but these ideals have guided this country in a place where everybody has equal rights, okay, under the eyes of the government. So, you know, ultimately at the end of the day, I mean, you know, yeah, I think it actually does apply to him, right? He is one of them, right? We're all Americans ultimately at the end of the day. Now, if you don't see yourself as an American, that's on you, right? So, you know, people like Silly D, if you want to leave, then leave. If you don't see yourself as an American, right? Let's be real. I'm just getting tired of these people pretending as if they don't have equal rights and that, you know, what everybody else is allowed to do in this country doesn't apply to them. And it's just silly nonsense.
Absolutely incredible. And he has a Donald Trump shirt on. I mean, talk about swinging from Trump's disco balls. He is offended by a black woman protesting this current administration. And that is the way that he addresses it. Now, he acts like, he calls her trash. He acts like she's the abomination, like she is such a horrible person.
Well, she is. She's one of these algae protesters, right? One of these vandals, okay, who were out there vandalizing the reflecting pool, right? She's probably engaged in domestic terrorism, so he's 100% right? I didn't hear anything that he said that was incorrect, to be honest with you. Yeah, she is a bad person. Let's be honest.
But he don't even know how to have a decent conversation without using profanity.
Well, I mean, to be honest, you can't have decent conversations with these people, right? They're not reasonable, okay? So there's no reason to have a decent conversation with them because, again, we're not dealing with decent people.
Uncivilized mutt is one of the worst of the worst. And because of that, I actually got a song strictly for him. And I thought it would be cool to actually play the song while he is talking. So I'm going to take out the sound here. I'm going to take the audio out and I'm going to add the new audio because this is this guy in action for real. Check this out.
The irony here is that this song actually applies more to this woman, right? I'm not sure exactly what the point of this song is, to try to make it seem like this guy is tap dancing for Trump or something, right? I think that's the point that he's trying to make, but the way they're actually acting, right, in the video, it makes it seem like the real tap dancer here is this liberal black woman, right? But again, Silly D is too dumb to realize this, right? Did he not play this song over this video before he decided to do this, right? To say, okay, does this actually look like what I want to portray to my audience, right? I don't think it's had the effect that he wanted it.
hear people say things like Black Americans can't have the same level or greater freedom anywhere else in the world, the goal for you should be to expand the definition of freedom beyond the legal blueprint. So check this out. So we all know about the Constitution. We've heard about the Constitution and how robust the Constitution protections are, right? But here's the deal. Freedom is also experienced through daily safety, economic mobility, social equity, and psychological peace. That's the part they don't get. Now, correct me if I'm wrong, if you believe that Black people have that in this country. If you believe that we have daily safety, economic mobility, complete, not some, complete economic mobility.
Well, I mean, you do, right? Now, in terms of daily safety, I mean, let's be honest, if you're concerned about safety, it ain't the white man, right, or the government that you need to be concerned about is other Black folks, right? If safety is your concern, if your argument is that Black people don't have daily safety, that's not a result of the government or the white man. It's actually a result of other Black people, right? Statistically speaking. So I'm not sure exactly what point is he trying to make there. When it comes to socio-economic mobility, they're Black billionaires. They're Black millionaires. They're Black people who are economically successful in this country. So yes, economic mobility is there, right? We can observe this, right? This is empirical, right? I'm not entirely sure what Silly D is talking about. I'm pretty sure Silly D is likely a millionaire. If he's not a millionaire, it's because he's stupid, right? He's financially so I'm trying to figure out exactly what is this dude's deal, right? What are you saying, right? What rights and freedoms don't Black people have in this country? Like, I don't get it, right? Again, both of those things, Black people have. The first one, again, is more about Black folks and how Black people interact with other Black people when you talk about safety. But again, the economic mobility stuff, yeah, that's on you, right? Nobody's gonna give you a handout. The government's not gonna give you a handout. You got to go out there and earn it, and that's what a lot of these people are upset about, right? These Blacks are upset that nobody's gonna give them a handout, right? That you're not gonna get reparations. That you legitimately have to go out there and earn whatever you get in this life.
If you believe that we have social equity and psychological peace, raise your hand if we got all of that. If we got all of that. Without interference, nobody's interfering. We can wake up.
Yeah, nobody. Well, I mean, again, I just kind of feel like I'm confused, right? Because he's implying that the white man is interfering with this stuff. But it's like, again, it's not the white man that's interfering with any of that. Again, when you talk about psychological peace, the only people who are interfering with the psychological peace are Black people, other Black folks, right? Let's keep it 100. These people who grew up in the hood, right, grew up in the ghetto, they don't interact with the white man until they actually leave, right? Like, that's the thing about these people. Always boo-hoo-on and crowd about white people, holding them back. I'm like, well, a vast majority of Black folks don't interact with white people until they actually leave the hood, right? If they actually get out of the hood. But everybody that you interact with on a day-to-day basis in the ghetto, right, in the hood, is Black. It's Black. That's what you really got to deal with. Those are the obstacles that you got to overcome, right? Obstacles that are basically a result of the behaviors of other Black people. So when he says, do Black people have this without interference? I guess you could argue that if there is interference, it's coming from other Black folks. Again, not white people, not the government for the most part. So again, I'm just kind of confused in regards to what Silly D is saying here. I don't think he understands what he's saying, to be honest with you.
Every day and know that we have that and nobody is going to mess with it. Like, it's not under attack by anybody. We got that kind of peace. See, that's what Black people are enraged about.
I mean, that's fine. You can be enraged about it, but you need to turn the rage at other Black folks, right? If that's the case, if you're concerned about that is where you should direct your rage, to be honest with you.
And this Sambo, I know for a fact, he looked old enough to have experienced some racism in this country. So what I suspect is that he's one of those dudes who have been traumatized. He's been so traumatized that he's grown to accept the abuse. He has, because there are people out there that's like that. There are some people that say, you know what, save yourself. I'm just going to save myself. I don't care about whatever, everything that's going on. And I might get hit upside my head every now and then with it, but overall, I'd rather have this than that. A lot of them are resigned to that. A lot of those tap dancing Sambos are resigned to that. For him to have,
bro, I'm gonna keep it a buck with you, bro. These people always talk about how black conservatives or Trump supporters are tap dance for the white man. Okay, let's assume that's true, right? Let's assume that's true, right? They're just tap dance for the white man. I'd rather tap dance for the white man than tap dance for black people. To be honest with you, let's keep it all the way a buck, right? Let's keep it all the way a buck. Okay, I would rather tap dance for the white man, if that's what you want to call it, than tap dance for the blacks, right? Let's keep it a beat, okay? Since that's what these people are claiming that black conservatives are doing. Because when you come out here and you lie, like Silly D does all the time on his channel, right? Not making any sense. Yeah, you're tap dancing for blacks, right? You're tap dancing for black people who aren't smart enough to understand that Silly D doesn't know what he's talking about. So let's be real. If you want to talk about tap dancing, Silly D does tap dancing for black people. That's what he does on his channel, right? That's who he's tap dancing for, okay? That's who he's tap dancing for. But apparently that's fine. That's all good. Either way, in my opinion, you know, you can't come out here and talk about somebody else tap dancing when, again, look at the shit that you put out on your channel. It doesn't even have to make sense. It doesn't have to make sense. You're appealing to people based off race and being explicit about it, right? You're not even trying to be low-key. Like, you're explicitly tap dancing for the blacks, right? But when it comes to this black Trump supporter that Silly D is so upset with, maybe, just maybe, this guy has not experienced the so-called racism that Silly D just, you know, believes that every black person faces, which, by the way, again, like I said, most black people don't interact with white folks until later on in life. Again, if they actually leave the hood, then they have real interactions with white people. Okay, so again, a vast majority of the interactions that black people are having on a day-to-day basis are with other black folks, right? That is who most black people are dealing with. But even if he did experience so-called racism, hate, and bigotry from a white person, okay, so what, right? Everybody in this life is going to experience obstacles, right? Racism is not the only kind of adversity in this life, and it's not a special kind of adversity, right? A white person that's, you know, born in the middle of nowhere in some trailer park to, you know, crackhead parents. Yeah, I mean that's adversity, right? That adversity is a lot to deal with, right? You know, and ultimately at the end of the day, everybody has to go through some type of adversities. People have to overcome obstacles. Racism is not unique, okay? It's not unique. It's not something that is special, that you should get a pat on the back because you have to deal with that, right? Like, no, that's not how it works. Everybody in this life has to go through hardships, okay? Everybody is born into a unique situation. And it is a big black is some type of special situation to be honest.
T-shirt on with a picture of Donald Trump, especially a T-shirt, a damn picture that big. Donald Trump covers the whole damn T-shirt. His face covers the whole T-shirt. For him to wear something like that, I can guarantee you if Trump said, "Hey man, I like you. Come on by the house, man, you know. Do a little sucky ducky for me." I bet he'll do it. I bet he'll do it. Let me tell you something, fam. The way that these dudes be glazing Trump, you know, I bet you a whole lot of them do it. I bet you. A lot of these dudes, they care more about Trump than they care about their own family. They care about Trump more than they care about themselves. I don't know what it is, what kind of spell Trump got on these people. But Trump got a spell on them. Like, even if you say, okay, I like Trump because his way that he expressed himself, you know, he says what he means and he means what he says. He's not afraid to talk and say this. So I think what's happening is when these dudes get behind him like that, it's like maybe he's something that they wish that they could be. Maybe that's what it is. Like they wish that they could have that amount of freedom that he has. They wish that they could have the money that he has. And so they live vicariously through him, because it makes no sense for this dude to run around being a black man in America, glazing Donald Trump the way he's doing, to be swinging from his disco balls like that, and to be insulting a black woman like that.
Well, what is this black woman doing, right? She's out there at a reflecting pool, brainwashed, trying to protest the president, basically protesting for algae to fill up the reflecting pool, right? So basically protesting for DC to not look good, right? For the Capitol to not look good. Like, what is the point, right? Like, I mean, seriously, like, I think she's the one that's actually brainwashed, right? Like, how can you hate America so much that you don't want the reflecting pool to look good, right? That you're protesting, cleaning up DC, right? The Capitol. That is what I think the real issue is here, right? That is the person who's actually brainwashed this woman. And again, Silly D here as well, too.
Insulting her because she's exercising her constitutional right for freedom of expression.
Yeah, he's exercising his constitutional right, too. What's the problem?
It is amazing how they fight for that. They want to scream and shout for that, while at the same time trying to deny others of that exact same thing. These bastards.
He's not denying her anything, right? He didn't hit her, right? He didn't try to have her locked up or anything like that. He just told her the truth, right? I don't see what the problem is here, right? Her rights were not denied. She was allowed to go out there and protest and to say whatever she was saying.
These are hypocrites. This is why I don't respect them. I don't respect none of them. And I damn sure don't fear them. But I don't respect none of them. I mean, when I say none of them, I mean none of them, because they're hypocrites.
In 2 miles,
they're hypocrites.
Indiana.
They don't stick to the script. If you got convictions, man, convictions are things that are not supposed to be easily swayed. You're supposed to stick with your convictions. But just like those people who went inside of that African-American museum in D.C. to seek refuge from the severe weather. That's the way that they operate.
Well, I mean, it's taxpayer funded, right? If I'm paying taxes to have this museum, then if it rains and I need shelter, then best believe I'm going to go anywhere I can get shelter, especially if I'm paying for my tax dollars. So I don't see the problem in here. I don't see any hypocrisy in that. But again, Silly D is so dumb, right? Like, I'm trying to figure out who listens to this guy. Seriously. Are black people really so dumb, right? They listen to a guy like this? I don't understand how a guy like this with a platform gets so many followers. I mean, to be honest with you, I mean, it sounds dumb, right? I mean, it's nonsensical. He makes up stuff. He pushes conspiracy theories. None of his commentary is based in fact or reality. It's kind of wild to me, to be honest. But, you know, guys like him being able to be successful in this country, despite being so dumb, it really shows you just how easy some people in this country got it, right? Just how blessed some people are, especially black people, to be American, because a reason or anything like that. All you gotta do is just race hustle. It's fascinating. It really is. So I personally did not find anything that Trump supporter said to be incorrect, right, or inappropriate. Ultimately, at the end of the day, it's freedom of speech. It is what here a black conservative perspective.
So everybody get storage and put their stuff in storage. Yeah, it's time to move. There you go. You get the storage first. You find your place to move. That's how it goes.
North Charleston police are asking for the community's help tonight after a 4th of July block party got out of hand, resulting in gunfire, fights, and an assault on multiple police officers and several arrests. Last night around 8:30, North Charleston police responded to a block party of about 400 people in the Chicora, Cherokee neighborhood after receiving reports of people firing fireworks at passing vehicles. Police were informed that multiple people had discharged firearms as well, which led police to defuse the situation by asking everyone to leave. North Charleston Police Chief Ron Camacho tells us fights then broke out, which led to multiple officers being assaulted. NCPD arrested 3 juveniles and 1 adult, and at least 1 person was charged with assaulting an officer. Chief Camacho says North Charleston police have changed the way it interacts with juveniles recently, or suspects under 18 years old in certain situations, as officers of higher ranking are now required to be involved. Tonight, Camacho is also asking for the community's help.
Stuff like this is getting dangerous. I am looking for any way possible to try to solve this issue of unruly juveniles. It's very complex and probably the most difficult thing that I've had to deal with in my career.
Says he plans to meet with law enforcement and community leaders tomorrow to discuss yesterday's incident and ways to prevent future situations like this while keeping the community safe.
All right, guys, so we got to talk about a pretty story out of North Charleston, South Carolina, involving some teenagers who just so happen to be black, right? As per the usual, getting caught on beating a white police officer, in this case, a white female police officer, and it's going mega viral. Okay, this video has about 12.1 million views on YouTube, and I think part of the reason why is because this stuff just continues to get more and more and more shocking, right? We have a teen problem in this country, right, where you have these future astronauts, doctors, lawyers, engineers, AI researchers. It turns out that they're very violent, and they're only getting more and more and more violent. And until we start treating this like the epidemic that it is, you're going to continue to see it, and it's only going to get worse. Okay, these individuals need to be locked up for a long time, tried as adults and locked up for 20, 30, 40, 50 years. Who knows? Some of these teenagers need life, to be honest with you. We need to stop being soft on these individuals because they're being raised like animals. Let's be honest, right? And when you're raised like an animal, you act like an animal. And when you act like an animal, you need to be locked in a cage. I mean, that is basically how you treat wild animals, right? And again, that's the type of behavior that we're saying. So I want to go ahead and play a couple clips here of what went down. And keep in mind, I'm going to play the clip, and it has music in it. So if it goes silent, it's because I had to take the music out because of copyright. So without further ado, let's go ahead and get into this. So you see, now you heard that. This is actually insane. Okay. If you take a look at kind of what happened here, you had a bunch of these individuals jumping the police. And again, we're gonna go over exactly what happened. We're gonna listen to the local law enforcement. But I mean, you have this black girl beating the police officer with what looks like a bat or something like that. I don't know. It's wild. She gets pushed. This young thug continues to basically try to choke out a police officer, to beat a police officer. They're tasing this young scholar right here. He's running away. Taser doesn't work. You know, it's kind of crazy that taser doesn't work on these individuals. They become immune to tasers. Evolution is happening here, right? They've evolved to the point where tasers don't work anymore. That was a pretty skinny teenager. So again, we're not talking about a big person here, but they got this one, right? They got this one. Honestly, I don't know why they allow these females to be police officers like this. I mean, this is a man's job, right? You need a man to deal with stuff like this. So yeah, I mean, this is insane. I don't know why they're not arresting this girl right here. They should be arresting her because she basically tried to beat the officer with a bat. That's what it looked like. I mean, you guys tell me. Let's go back here. Yeah, I mean, look at this. I mean, she got pushed down by the police. I don't know what's going on, right? It's so much chaos. Yeah, she's hitting the officer with whatever, the weapon, right? And for whatever reason, this same individual is just walking around, right? They're not arresting her. They're not doing anything. Maybe they did. I don't know. But it's wild. We got another angle here, okay? And I'm going to try to not play the music on this one as well, too. Let's go ahead and roll this.
Amazing.
Yeah, so you seen that, you heard that. Now, stories like this are part of the reason why I wasn't upset and mad that you had black people claiming that they weren't going to celebrate 4th of July. I was like, okay, that's great, right? You celebrated Juneteenth, and we saw the violence that happened on Juneteenth as a result. I didn't want a violent 250th American birthday celebration, right? So I was actually kind of relieved when I kept seeing black people claim they're not celebrating 4th of July. I was okay, well, if y'all stay in the house, y'all stay home, then there'll be less violence. But obviously, you had some of these individuals, because it was a holiday, they took the opportunity to celebrate, and violence broke out. Okay, unsurprising. It's par for the course, and you're going to continue to see it unless we start to treat this like the epidemic that it is. These individuals have to be locked up. I'm so serious.
Lock them up.
Let's listen to North Charleston's police chief address this June 4th block party incident, because again, it was a block party, and there were reports of gunshots, basically fireworks, really. And the police showed up, and they started beating the police. So let's listen to what the police chief has to say about it.
And we're from Charleston Police Department would like to address the incidents that occurred in the Chicora Cherokee community on the evening of July 4th, 2026, which have gone viral on social media. A neighborhood block party that had been permitted by the city of North Charleston in advance of the holiday. Earlier that day, police leadership met with the event organizers to discuss the event, including traffic, parking plans to ensure emergency vehicles could safely access the area if needed. At approximately 8:30 p.m., officers began receiving reports of gunfire and individuals firing fireworks toward passing vehicles. Officers responded immediately and were informed by attendees that several people had begun discharging firearms. Officers made repeated public announcements advising that the event had ended and directing everyone to leave the area safely in an attempt to de-escalate the situation. Despite those efforts, multiple fights broke out and additional gunshots were fired.
In 4.2 miles,
officers exited their patrol vehicles to intervene, separate the individuals involved in the fights, and work to restore order and protect the public. During the response, multiple firearms and a makeshift spear were recovered. Multiple officers were physically assaulted, with 2 female officers sustaining minor injuries. Several attendees were arrested as a result of their actions. Attacks on law enforcement are unacceptable, and those responsible will be prosecuted to the fullest extent of the law. Our residents and visitors remains our highest priority. We appreciate the cooperation of many attendees who complied with officers' instructions. We especially thank those from the community who had officers during the attacks, and the different law enforcement agencies who responded to assist, which included Charleston County Sheriff's Office, the Charleston Police Department, the Berkeley County Sheriff's Office, and the South Carolina Highway Patrol. Two female officers that were injured. They're working. I spoke to them. The mayor spoke to them. Spirits. The young officer that's in the video, she's in pride that we take in ourselves and the spirit that this department has.
Well, I mean, she certainly took a beat, right? She took a beat. But again, I got real questions about if this is the job that women should be doing, right? Are women really cut out for this, right? Considering the type of individuals that we're dealing with, getting beat down like that, not a good look, right? Not a good look. But hey, at least they back on the job, right? They didn't back down. You know, they're ready to take on the job and to continue. So I got to give them credit for that, to be honest with you.
So with that, I'll open it up for questions.
How many today under what charges?
4 arrests were made yesterday. 3 juveniles and 1 adult. I know at least 1 was arrested were for assaulting an officer. I don't know what the other 2 arrests were for. I don't have that information in front of me.
What's the location, the address where this actually took place?
In the area of the Chicora Community Park on Calvert. That happened in that area. And that whole area became basically a civil disturbance, spilled out. So.
Can you confirm any identities of who was arrested?
I don't have that. That'll be coming out tomorrow morning.
So I know this was permitted. I was just wondering if you had any additional details about how the celebration turned into the civil disturbance and, you know, how many gunshots might have been fired or by how many people?
Yeah, our officers went out there and made contact with the permitted person at first, and that was fine. We got called back there, and that's when this large crowd was there. So it's the 4th of July. We had prior intelligence that a bunch of kids, a bunch of juveniles were going to be running around, you know, having these fights with these, you know, Roman candles, these fireworks. And we just didn't know that they were going to be in that area at that time. So we had planned for that. I think they just took advantage of that block party, intermingled, and started being unruly.
So were the people?
Yeah, I think they were more than unruly. Ultimately, like I said, this is an epidemic. These stories are getting more and more and more out of control. You're seeing it everywhere. You're seeing it happen everywhere. And ultimately, like I said, until these teenagers and the parents are held accountable for their actions, you're going to continue to see it, right? You're going to continue to see it. And again, it's unfortunate. But, you know, this is why I tend to stay away from stuff like this. Smart people stay away from it. And ultimately, at the end of the day, these teenagers are just showing that there's a lot of issues that just need to be addressed within the Black community, but can't address them because, again, it's racism and bigotry to tell the truth about the behaviors of these individuals and what we continue to see over and over and over and over and over again. So, yeah, they should be punished to the fullest extent of the law. I'm talking 10, 20, 30 years, ideally, right? See, again, if they start actually giving out the harsh sentences for this stuff, if they actually, you know, brought back again harsh sentencing for this stuff, you wouldn't see it, right? That's just what it comes down to. And that's what it comes down to. If you actually started to really punish these people harshly, right? 0 tolerance. You caught on video hitting a police officer, bro, automatic, 20 years. I guarantee you don't see it, right? I guarantee you don't see this stuff. It goes away. But because they get slaps on the wrist, right? They're allowed to get away with it. You know, this is why we see it. And we'll continue to see it, unfortunately. So let me know what you guys think. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. Most importantly, share the Black conservative perspective. Peace.
All right, you guys. Once again, I'm out and about for the moment. Appreciate you guys. Love each other. Like, share, and subscribe. I'll be back tomorrow in the morning. Thank you. Blessings.